Hi, my name is Stephanie, and I wanted to make some masks too. I went to the hospital last week with some problems of my own, and when I got released from the hospital, I asked the nurse, hey, you guys gonna need some hospital gowns? Because I've got a lot of old sheets and I can sew. And the gal just about started crying, said, hey, we need masks. And I'm looking at these people, and they've got these surgical masks on their faces, and they have them like strapped as tight as they can around their faces, trying to breathe through the mask instead of around it. And this is a very nice new surgical mask that I had gotten before this whole thing started. The ones that people at the hospital were wearing were wore out. They looked like they had been reused, washed. The doctor's trying to talk to me, and the mask is sucking into his mouth, and he's having to blow it out to be able to talk. And I'm thinking, yeah, they need masks. So I've heard that they're going to start taking homemade masks. And what I was seeing is these surgical masks were really hard for them to wear, and maybe weren't really doing the job that they needed to do. And while I was in there, there was this big hype. They'd gotten a box of N95s. This, for those of you who aren't sure what that is, this is an N95. We have them for construction work. It keeps the insulation dust from getting into your lungs. This is my son's N95's got a B on it. So anyway, the N95, what makes the N95 so special? Well, there's a lot of things to it, and I wanted to know exactly what it was, so I decided to dissect one and to show everybody, because not everybody has access to these. And then we'll donate the rest of our box to the hospital, but this way I can try to replicate it. So the N95, it seals around your face. It pulls in tight. You are breathing through the fabric. You're not breathing up past your nose and fogging up your glasses. If you're fogging up your glasses with your mask, that's probably a pretty bad sign that it's not sealing around your face, and then all that stuff is coming around the side. So what I wanted to do was try to reinvent this thing. Since we don't have something that you can press and make this round shape, I had to make a pattern that would give you kind of a round shape also. It's got a comfort piece for your nose. It fits around your nose, and it doesn't let the air go up past your nose. And it has a padding in here so that it doesn't hurt your nose, because the metal will eventually start really irritating you. So these things are hot and sweaty and uncomfortable. And yeah, we don't like putting them on, but you get in the insulation dust for about 30 minutes and you start coughing. And then you put your mask on and you can go all day and you aren't going to cough on that insulation dust, because these will keep it out. It can't get in around the sides. So I was like, okay, well, how are they making these things? So I dissected mine here. It's like, okay, what have we got? We have a real thin layer of something that, if you look through it, you can see that it's like a mesh. It's not it's like a pressed fabric, interfacing. It's not like a knit or a woven fabric. That is your outer layer. It reminds me a lot of a reusable grocery bag. So I was like, okay, well, that's my outer layer. Then we've got a really thick, really stiff, this is really stiff layer of interfacing type of stuff. Also a pressed fabric, not a woven or a knit. Okay, get that one out of the way. Now we've got something in the middle here that looks probably like the thing that's doing most of the work. We've got two layers of this. It's really soft, it's really flexible. I put water on this. It holds up to the water just fine. It just kind of runs off of it. There, I kind of got them apart. So we got two layers of this, and it's also it's a pressed fabric also. So we got two layers of that soft stuff, and then we have on the inside one more layer of stiff interfacing. This is just like a stiff interfacing. It's just like the stuff that was that second layer here. So I see this outside layer is basically the cover, and then the next layer is part of what holds its shape. And of course, I think all of these layers are designed to help the filter. This is the inner layer helps hold its shape. So this thing is held off your mouth and your nose. It's not breathing into your mouth when you're trying to talk. You're getting sweaty, and it's not like falling apart on your face because you got it wet. And then this nose piece, this makes it to where it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt with this metal piece coming down over your nose and shaping to your face. Now, if you don't shape this to your face and you've got air coming through the sides, this mask isn't doing what it's intended to do. It's supposed to keep the stuff to come through the mask and not around the sides. So that's our N95 dissect. It's like, okay, how can we do this? So I had done some reading online, and I heard filter bags, vacuum bags. Okay, I've got a couple vacuum bags. That's going to make about 8 masks. That doesn't go very far. What else can I do? And my brother-in-law said, hey, use the HEPA filter bag, or HEPA filters for your forced air furnace. It's like, okay. So I ran down to Ace Hardware, and they had these. And these filters are supposed to help with everything. The last thing on the list is viruses. This is the best filter I could find down there at Ace Hardware. A lot of your furnace filters don't say they will filter out bacteria and virus. So these purple labeled ones are supposed to do that. And it's like, okay, so I bought this. I've got one here that I started to delaminate so I can show that it's really quite easy to pull these apart. They're hot glued along the edges. This is laying over the top. Now there's another kind of filter where the wire mesh is running in and out of the filter. I've got one here actually. Like this. That, I'm saving this filter in case I run out of everything else, but this one's going to be harder to pull apart. I don't know how well it's going to come apart. So we'll see what happens if I have to get to that one later. For now, this stuff comes off and this stuff unravels, and you've got yourself quite a nice little chunk of filter fabric. And then I got thinking, well, this stuff is pretty lightweight. So I took and I cut the pieces. It's like, I think you're better off if we double this.
Airflow.
So I've got the airflow on the filter. And when you buy your filter, or you get your filter, Ace Hardware actually donated all these other ones to me after I figured out what I was doing. So the air is supposed to go a certain way. What I decided to do, and I don't know if this is the best plan or not, but I decided to make the airflow trap the particles in the middle, hopefully. And I have the air flow going one way on one direction and going the other way on the other direction. So I am trying to trap the stuff that would go out of your mouth and the stuff that would come into your mouth. Like I said, I don't know if that's actually going to do any good or not. It's just my idea. So what I did was I pulled this filter apart, and you see it turns into fabric. This stuff, the first mask I made for myself, I put that, so this has been through the wash. I wanted to experiment. It did not like the washing machine. It didn't like the dryer. The washer was fine. It holds up fine to water. It does not hold up fine to heat. In fact, I had stuck a piece in there that kind of wadded up into what looked like a piece of saran wrap when it came out. So yeah, it can't handle the dryer. It can handle a little bit of temperature, but not much. So this first one, I put this layer on the inside of my mask, and it was itchy. So that is my first mask, which has shrunk in the dryer. It no longer fits me. I'm going to give it to one of my children. They're really excited about it. It's also got a goopy job because I don't have a glue gun right now. We're just making do with what we got, and I'm using my kitchen stove. Okay, so this furnace filter, here we go. What have we got? We have got a pressed fabric. Okay, that's good. This is going to be the thing that I'm trusting to do some good because it's been tested for the furnaces, and it's the only thing we've got really that's been tested here. This has not been tested. It's like an interfacing, or what I'm using is used cloth grocery bags. Will you hand me one of those, Dad? Ace Hardware also donated these to me. These are the grocery bags, and as you can see that?
Yeah, you can see through it.
Okay, you can see the pressed fabric in there. So that's what I'm using. No holes. We don't want any little holes. somebody online was saying the more you sew through it, the more holes you make. That's not good either. And I was like, well, that makes sense. So since I had to make a pattern to make a cone shape, because I can't press one, that means you're going to have seams. It's like, okay, well, I got seams. What am I going to do? So first off, here's my pattern. I made the shape so we can get a nice cone shape out of it to keep it off your face, because otherwise you're breathing that thing in all day. Those poor people were having a hard time with it.
Lay it flat so I can get a zoomed in view of the pattern.
So I got the metal piece for the nose. I've got the foam piece that I'm putting on the inside, which you cannot see on these because I actually sewed it inside. So this kind of gives you your general shape. Alright, so instead of putting my filter on the inside, I decided let's put the filter in the middle, the interfacing on the inside. I've got lightweight interfacing out of my sewing box, because this is what I have. Everyone will have something different. Make it, try it, and decide if you like it or not. So I'm doing 2 layers of my lightweight interfacing. That's this right here. 2 layers of interfacing, 2 layers of filter fabric, like that. 2 layer, and then 1 layer of the grocery bag, or stiff interfacing, whatever you got. Okay, so those are my pieces. Then I'm taking and sewing my nose cushion in. Okay, what I used for this was I found some air conditioning filter material at Ace Hardware, and I would think you could use what's it called, weather strip and things like that, and some sort of nice soft squishy foam that would feel comfortable as a nose thing. And so I put this on the outside first. This was itchy. This was not comfortable. So what I did was I decided, well, this old sheet is really soft. I'm just going to sew that, and when I get all done, I flip the sheet in. I tack it in with some hot glue inside, and then it is actually very comfortable. It's not miserable at all. And it's pretty fast and easy. I did not hem the sides. It's like, we got to make a bunch of these. If I spend too much time on each one, they're going to fall apart with a certain amount of use. So there's my outer layer. I sew that. Here I showed how on my pattern I sew the outer layer on the outer line to make it just a wee bit bigger than the inner layers, because the inner layers have to fit inside of it. Then I turned it inside out. I sewed on my nose piece and my cloth so that it can come inside. And then I took this piece, here's the one I did, and I put my lightweight interfacing on the inside. So I've got my seam going up on my soft interfacing. I have the seam also going up towards it. And then I just folded it back and I tacked it with hot glue. And the hot glue really holds onto this interfacing fabric, so don't worry about it coming loose. It did not come loose in the washing machine. The dryer was too hot for the hot glue, sad to say. So anyway, this is coming out pretty good here. And then you tuck it inside of this piece. You've got a chin and a nose. Here's a nose, here's a chin. Put it together like that. And then you are going to get it kind of lined up the best you can, and you're going to sew all the way around. Then you're going to flip the nose piece in. You're going to fold the edges of it in a little bit so it doesn't unravel as bad, and then once again I just tacked it in with hot glue. It's not going to fall out. You don't want it to fall out, because then someone will be trying to do something and their thing is slapping in their face, and then they're going to have to touch their face and stuff like that, which we're trying not to do. Alright, so after I sewed all that together, I trimmed up the edges around the edges. I made pleats in the sides because it was just a little bit squishy. It was smashing my nose. So I made pleats in the sides, just evenly on the sides, and that's anywhere from probably about a 3/8 pleat there on the sides of this. I did not mark that on my pattern. Okay, so this pleat was not in the bottom, right? I put this in this morning because I realized after a long period of time my jaw was getting sore because I was breathing through my nose, or my mouth, because my nose was still a little bit squashed. It's like, okay, well, so I put this little pleat in, and it helped me, and that may just be a size of your face issue. I don't know if this is something we should do in all of them. I think I'm going to go ahead and do it now because this made this a lot more comfortable for me. So then I have my foam in there. It's nice and padded on the top. I got this stuff all tucked in. I'm trimmed up. I stick my elastic on. The first mask I made, this one, I was careless with my elastic and I just put it on there thinking it was fine. Well, it was a little bit tight. I recommend 11 inches, but I recommend moving them all the way to the edge. This elastic, I bought the white elastic and I ripped it up the middle. It will delaminate with time, but time is important. So I can't wait for more elastic to come into the store. I just have to use what I've got. So you put your elastic on, you pleat your sides. If you want to pleat the chin, I recommend making one and trying it for yourself. See what you think and make your little adjustments on yours, and then decide what you want to do.
And once you make one mask, wear it while you make the others.
Yeah, wear your mask. So then I hot glued the metal onto the nose piece.
Oh, the metal. Where'd you get your metal?
The metal. Oh yes. So the metal is another contractor's item here. Compliments to my husband. This is galvanized hanger strap. It's also called plumber's tape. It is a strap with holes in it. It's 3/4. This is a 3/4 by 100. I'm not going to run out of metal. That will be the least of my worries. Got a pair of snips.
You've already got a bunch of them cut.
Yeah. Cut a piece of metal and then just cut along and get rid of the holes. I've heard pipe cleaners, different things. Be inventive and do whatever you can. I don't have pipe cleaners. This is what I could find that I had. And if you have access to this, this is working wonderful. This is about the same stiffness as this old N95 that I've got. This is actually a little bit lighter weight than the metal that I've got, but so close to the same you really wouldn't even know the difference. So I'm doing that, rounding off the edges so they're not sharp, and putting that on with hot glue. And that's basically my mask. I don't know, it hasn't been tested or anything, but I went down to Ace Hardware, talked to them, and they donated me a whole bunch of filters and stuff, and we're going to try to make these and donate them to our hospital here and try to help out the doctors that are having to reuse their surgical masks with something that'll seal up better, and they don't have to strap it around their face so tight that it looks miserable. And they are hot and they are sweaty, and they are designed to be hot and sweaty. They're designed to keep the air from coming around the edges and to make it come through the filter. Then you know it's coming through the filter, and I guess there's less worries that way. So anyway, thank you for watching, and I hope that everyone stays safe.